Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and we are doing a no-run-through review for the Guild of Merchant Explorers, which actually has... Oh, trademarked. Trademarked! TM.
Good deal.
Just in case anyone else wanted to steal this fantastic name that is...
It does fit on the box.
It does.
That's an
it does.
advantage.
And it actually, funny enough, I actually really like this cover. It is kind of like beige immediately, but I don't know. I mean, I like the banner, and I like the little... It's like, hey, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are a guild of merchants, and you explore.
It's true.
So this was a game. I have a hilarious story about this one. It's really not all that funny, but...
It involved my dead mother. So take that as you will.
Your dead mother always cracks me up.
Yeah, God.
Oh boy, if there's a story I love hearing.
Yeah, it's the one where she was massacred.
Sorry.
So, Gen Con this past year, I went to AEG, and this was kind of just on display, and I immediately just, boom, it's not even. And there was another game that came out called Wormholes, and one of the guys that was working for the company, I was like, hey, you want to explain Wormholes to me? And then he was, and I think he could immediately kind of like tell I checked out, because it was just kind of a whatever light gateway game, and I was like, I'm not interested at all. And then so I hide him like, so what about this one? And he's like, oh, okay. So this game I like a lot better. And he like immediately sells it up, and I'm like, all right, special powers and like cube placement, different maps. All right, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I think this is a lot of people's like surprise games of 2022, because that title does not do anything for anyone.
Yes.
But
I personally think the title does it more justice than it deserves.
well, I mean, but like, if you were to like think of games like the Guild of Merchant Explorers, it's like really the genericism of genericia.
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
The game of placing things and doing stuff.
Yeah, like
Books do that too, where it's like an X of X and X's. And
right, and it's like
instead of a short title like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Twilight.
it was like a mouthful, and there's that stigma of like Euro games or trading in the Mediterranean. It's like, God, I mean, how lame can we get? However,
Fuck the Mediterranean.
I think this game is quite nice. I thoroughly enjoy it. What do you guys think?
It is pleasant. I like trucking around the map. I like trying to maximize what you're given, basically. I will say the only thing deceptive about it is I don't really see why you needed to name it Merchant. Like, you make the theme up in your head. You're like, oh,
You make the trade routes.
yeah.
And you're collecting money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it could have been the Guild of Explorers. That is
It
really
could've, yeah.
what you're doing
Or
here.
traders.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
If you want to be real picky about it. But no, it is a pleasant little lame down game.
Yeah, doesn't overstay its welcome. Like,
Yeah, very nice
yeah,
all time.
light enough and short enough that it works well.
Yeah, like public objectives to just kind of race for, be the first one to do it, and it's like, hey, you know what? If multiple people get it, you all get the most points.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. And each map has its own deck of objectives, and there's not just the 3. There's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 per map.
Right.
So there's always 3 that are going to be out, and it's just like, yeah. They're there. It's enough thought that, like, I don't feel like you're going through the motions when
Right.
playing.
Right.
But it's nice. Brett,
Yeah.
what do you think? You like it?
I agree. I did play it a few times before, and the first couple of times I was like, just doing through motions, just picking up stuff. I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be doing, really. It was so light and simple that I didn't even think about it. But this time I was like, okay, now I can see why I'm putting that there and why I want to fill in this area for looking for the future. And these overpowered things that keep coming up, but they're so limited in how they can use.
Right.
Very well designed. I think that this game was better designed and play tested than comes out in the final playthrough. Because I think, so if these are, for each map, there are different objective cards. Because that has to do with the placement on the map. And that's the kind of thing where this looks simple and cartoonish, but there was a lot of thought put into each map, and the number of hexes and the arrangement of the lines based on what the movements are.
No, exactly. That's because the game comes with, I think,
3 different...
8 double-sided maps. So four different maps.
Okay.
But then an expansion added, I think, two more. So you have 6 different maps that you can play on.
That's impressive.
Now, of course, everyone plays on the same map whenever you're going through. But, like, can I see your thing real quick? Like, obviously, it might be immediately apparent, but, like, at a quick glance, or to be like,
No, yeah,
you're like, that's the same.
because you've got a lot more grasslands down in the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's
But
really...
at first glance, yeah, they're the same color scheme. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
And what's really fascinating about that is because Brett and I had just played this the other day, and then we were playing this one on the we played it on the Avenia map, and then we played on Akon, his island, and Akon's a rapper from like the early 2000s, just in case anyone didn't get that very lame joke.
You're older than I am.
But what was really nice is it was just like deceptively different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you didn't need to be like, wow, this is so radically different. But as you're playing, you're just like, oh, yeah, I am having a little bit more difficulty getting to certain areas than I was last time.
Or easier getting
easier
to
areas.
certain objectives.
Yeah. And here's how you know I think these maps are really balanced, even though, yeah, you kind of play obviously you play the same way. It's the 5 different terrains. My score was the exact same each time on both maps, which I thought was quite humorous.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, like, what do you guys think of the... If this game didn't have the individual, like, unique player powers, I probably would kind of be like, yeah.
Too limited.
But what do you guys think of the player powers?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's nice that they're all busted. That way, like, we all have our own busted
Unique.
ability. Yeah.
Mhm.
It makes it more fair, but, like, we're all able to really do something.
Right.
Yeah. It adds an asymmetry, but it's not a consistent asymmetry. So it's not like I can study your powers as your player and figure out how to get it. It's just
Right.
whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And, you know, at one point, whenever you use them, just pick one.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you get 2 whenever the arrow comes out and you're like, ooh. Like the first one that came out, I'm like, I could use this one here. Ugh, but which one's going to be better in the long term?
Yeah.
And
And then how can I build knowing that that's coming up in the future?
Yeah, and I guarantee my last one I got, where it was a continuous path of mountain spaces, that probably was what sealed the victory in this game, because I was like all in the mountain regions, and these happen to be with like about mountains, and I'm like, how am I like? You only get to place in one mountain spot.
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna fill in this region over here? Oh, bloop, bloop, bloop. It's so nice, because there's a game that came out a few years ago called Voyages of Marco Polo. I don't think you've played that. But the shtick is it's a general dice worker placement game. But it is touted as, almost in my opinion, the best example of asymmetrical player powers. They're all broken. And it's in that idea, like The Incredibles, of like, if everyone's power is broken, then none of them are broken.
Right.
Because you're sitting there and you're like, what the fuck? You can do that?
Yeah.
But then you're like looking at mine, and you're like, what the fuck? You can do that? And
How
we're
do
all
I
looking at
defend
cats
against
like, what? And that's kind of what this is. Now, it's not as far as that game, because that game is more complex than this.
Right.
But these just kind of do that.
Yeah.
And it's really neat, and I'm always intrigued, like, oh man, what's yours?
Yeah, and we say they're busted and they're godlike, and they're not really.
No.
But they're like 2 to 3 times what a standard move is.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, I mean, literally, the only mountain one you get, I mean, theoretically, if you use the 2 any adjacent,
Yeah.
but if you don't use it for mountains, you only can place 1 mountain. Well, I literally have an ability that gives me 4 continuous mountain spots.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah.
What is kind of weird to me, though, about these is it is just a shared deck,
Yeah.
and I almost would have liked it to be tiered based off eras. I don't know if
see
you
that.
guys agree, but I kind of would have like, hey, here's your level 1 era, and maybe I don't know if maybe they tried that and they couldn't figure out a balance of like, do we have era 1s be
Yeah.
less
I would-
powerful?
I would have to assume that by the time you got to like era 3, they're like everyone's sweeping.
Yeah.
It's- I don't know. It might just take the fun out of it. Like when it's too easy, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's
Especially if it's too easy and everyone is. It's nice to see your friends win, but also when you're playing a competitive game, you're like, stop that.
yeah, like era 3, everyone's just like
Right.
Take all remaining cubes, just put them wherever.
Right.
No, that's probably what happened, because they would have had to do it in a way where they get increasingly more powerful, because by Era 3, it's not popping off all the time.
Right.
So it would need to be really powerful. Hey, cover a whole region.
Yes.
But I think Cat's right, that it would be like, okay, obviously everyone's doing, like, that would be annoying if that was like what they went, where it's like, oh man, look at that. That's how many, oh, I won points? Is that what I got?
30
Yeah.
every turn.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, but that's kind of what I would initially think is, hey, Era 1 is Era 1 abilities. But nope, it just,
I think
maybe
it
the
works.
fact that they pops off more is better than an individual era-specific power. Because the Era 1 is going off, what did we say, 4 times?
Yeah, that is nice. It definitely helps.
Right.
For sure.
But, I mean, it's the trap of randomness, which is somebody could get something amazing, somebody else could get something kind of weak,
Yeah.
and then you just have to figure out how to make use of it in the future.
Yeah.
And there's always a way to do that, because I think that the ones that I've seen have all been fairly well balanced.
Yeah.
You know, like the one, explore 5 regions, but it has to be in a continuous line, and it has to be only these 2 types. Mm-hmm. And like, that's huge, but limited at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, and also, like, similar to mine, but still slightly different. This is only 4 regions, so...
Mine is 4 in any single region.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even see that
So
one.
yours is limited to mountains?
Mine was similar to your Era 1 of explore a continuous path of up to 4 mountain and or sea spaces.
Oh, mountain or sea, okay.
But so it's mountain and sea, but it's 4 spaces. Yours is mountain
because
and
it's
desert.
mountains is more valuable than deserts.
Right. But yeah, I think with this game being as a surprise hit as it is, I mean they already made like a special expansion that adds special rules based off the maps, like, and then they also have other rules that add like crystals on
Oh.
other maps.
Oh.
And also, this is one of those games that, because you can go get treasure,
Yeah.
they're limited.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games that I don't mind if other people top deck. You know,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh man, 2 coins.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, none of the treasures are that great,
Yeah.
but they
I think
they
I
add
got,
up
like-
to a few points.
I might have in this game, I had eight villages out. So that was like 4 points from that. I think I might have gotten like six points out of my end of game scoring
Yeah.
stuff.
I think
But-
I got like 10, but I just happened to.
I got a whole whopping 1 for my cities or villages.
For your you only
Just
have,
for villages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, because also it's they're additions. It's not like this all or nothing. It's like, yeah, you get a coin for every tower you go to, but you also went out and got 3 towers, so that was 24 points. So
And
you
only
got-
one of them after I drew that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this. That's kind of. I also think the idea of villages increasing in value is interesting.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good bonus.
Because initially you would think the opposite. Like, they should diminish in value, but it's like, well, it's like, do I want to build a village now? It's like, yeah, you probably should, because you're not going to get as far otherwise.
And
Well,
the earlier you do them, the more valuable they inherently are. So the less coinage you get. from them.
Right. What were you going to say?
We'll say I think on the other end is as you have the opportunity to spread outwards, you're going into more foreign lands, so the goods are going to be better.
Richer. Oh, man, look at you putting some theme in this theme
I
list.
freaking love geography, okay?
I
Geography and history.
I love the. It's not based on history. It's like so. I was like,
This is my favorite world.
Agon.
Yep.
Out of all
Oh, it's not
maps
even
you
a
play-
C. I said Acon like an idiot.
You did. I thought you just said it.
No, it's Aegon.
Aegon the Conqueror. We all know him.
So yeah, like here's the other thing though. This is kind of a weird. It's not a negative because it works, but this game should have been a flipping right.
Well,
Because I know we talked about that, but it's
Yeah.
like
I'm going to call it a negative, just not a huge one.
Okay.
But just picking up the cubes and not touching the other stuff.
right because you almost. I mean, it's just as easy as doing this, but you can't because you have
Yeah.
trade routes and you
Yeah.
have little treasures
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I felt
So
like we should have had like little tweezers. Like
yeah, and it's like,
If everything but the cubes was a dry erase mark, I could see that working. And then
Yeah.
and then you just clear the board and leave all the marks.
Yeah, and I get it because they wanted it to be like, obviously, it would still be annoying as a flippin' right because you would have to permanently mark out like the ruined spaces, but then you'd have to erase around it. But it still would be quicker, just going, huh? All right, those are all gone. But yeah, sometimes you're sitting there with a bunch of tokens and you're like, okay, let me get around it, and
be
oh,
fun.
I knocked it off. All right, let's put it back on. It's just weird.
That'd be fun on a map too. Like if you could make like those little dashes of like, oh, you're traveling.
No, I know, yeah,
Woo.
and I think that's why what they were trying to get was like you visually get to see it, or like, and it's also like physical. But I think it being cubes kind of just muddies it up versus
Yeah.
if it was written.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna give them like any leeway. I really think that their design was, we just don't want to do another flippin' right.
That's
And
fair.
So they went a different route, and it's like, yeah, but what you
What did you gain from this?
yeah,
Really?
like you kind of made it a little more fiddly than
Yeah.
it needed to be.
And I will say, this is one of those fiddlies that does, like, after a while, you're just, like, trying to pick something up, and you're, like, having a fat hand day or something, so
Yeah.
you're, like, knocking everything over.
Or you drop a cube and it knocks the village
Splatters.
into another spot.
Yeah,
Like,
and you're like,
what was
where,
that?
where was that? Yeah. And also, the reason why we didn't do this as a run through is because there's no interaction, even a little.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not entertaining to watch. Everyone's just kind of playing their own game. And then it's like,
Everyone's
all right, oh, hey, guys, I didn't even know you were here.
Sometimes there's a sidebar conversation about school.
Is there a solo variant?
There is a solo variant, actually.
Of course there is.
Is it score the most points you can get?
That's actually a good question. I don't
Score more than 5 points.
know. There's a
If
solo
you score
mode.
150,
You were trying to
dead.
reach. No, you're trying to reach a coin threshold
Okay.
by completing all 3 goals. But if I was setting my difficulty,
Oh.
each time hard, you need 150 points.
Hey.
So I've hit exactly that.
So you need to play it solo and then show us you're like, I got 90.
This is so hard. Yeah, it's a multiplayer solitaire game. You're not really interacting with each other. The physicality of the cubes doesn't enhance anything. I like the towers being placed. I almost would have liked it if they had little cities. So like everything as you like explored the landmarks locations, like treasures, because I don't know why they made towers like 3D. It's like, why didn't you give us little ship tokens of like a neutral color? Why didn't you give us little city tokens so that as we explore a side of the map, it kind of pops like it's 3D? If you wanted to do that, that would
They
have
did
been.
give us our little city tokens.
These are villages, but I'm talking about like
Oh.
these like it's weird that they had a 3D element for the towers, but nothing
Maybe just
else.
because those are more important. Like those,
Or they're more
They're-
rare, so
Yeah.
they didn't
I
have to make
guess,
as
but
many of them.
I actually think you get more points with trade routes. Like I got.
No, I was thinking of points. I was just thinking of actually creating them physically.
Oh.
There's only 4 max per player,
Yeah.
so they don't have to make nearly as many of them.
and they're out
Yeah.
on the edges, so they're not like going to be in the way of anybody.
Yeah.
Trade
make it
routes, we
even
each
more
got 3
fiddly.
or 4 or 5.
Yeah. And as far as
Yeah,
I
we
know,
definitely all
I
did that.
do not think this went on Kickstarter. I could be completely wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it didn't.
That is a rarity in these days.
Does AAG kickstart almost everything?
They don't really kickstart a whole lot, actually.
I just think-
They're bigger games like Dead Reckoning
Yeah.
was kickstarted,
Oh,
and Edge of Darkness, and those were kickstarted. I'm trying to look for the games to make sure that they're even. Where the hell is Dead Reckoning? Oh, there is. Yeah, that is AEG. So they're Thunderstone Quest. Like they do kickstart kind of expansions or games like that, but yeah, I don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure this wasn't. And if it was, it
This
probably
is-
didn't do well.
Don't worry, it's not going on the internet.
Yeah, we're deleting the footage after this.
Aw.
We're gonna beat
I
you up in
worked
the
hard.
tape camera.
So yeah, I think I'm very curious. I'm very curious if these designers are gonna do more with this. I think, of course, map packs are always great.
That'd be easy.
A little bit more complexity, maybe do more. I mean, obviously have.
Like a different region completely. Like change up the color scheme is what I mean by that.
Yeah, maybe if they're
something
like
more lush.
they realize that people actually like played it and liked it, and they're like, oh shit, like we didn't it was like that was our backup plan.
Let's make a real game out of this.
Yeah, that was my joke game.
We thought this was
Now we're going to come out with a roll and write version.
like when you play like a burner card in a card game, and you're just like, this is stupid.
And then yeah, and then
I'll get rid of it. Let's just.
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
been tabled for so long. Let's just push it out.
Yeah.
It's still viable, so we'll do it.
and then everyone loves it, and you're like, What?
Yeah, we worked so hard on this.
Yeah, God, thank God. It was a labor of love.
All the elements were completed. You definitely weren't going to have cities and trade route markers and ships.
So, yeah, I think they could definitely do map packs. You have the maps have special rules like this mini expansion does. And obviously more player powers.
Yeah.
Because that's the best part. Yeah. You guys got anything else? Any other negatives? Any other comments? Questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Scale of 1 to 10. What would you guys give the Guild of Merchant Explorers?
I'm going to give it an 8.
8?
Yeah.
8.
That's where I'm at. That is also where I am at. It is an 8 out of 10. Extremely solid.
Glad to set the tone.
So, that's our thoughts on the Guild of Merchant Explorers. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.